each transport mode has its own area of service. And what we have done during the COVID-19 task force, and at the end, with Roland Berger, we had a conclusion that in the rail part, we have 10, 15 years for window of opportunity, due to the fact that the air will be clean in 15, 20 years. It is what is promised the major industry in the air transport. So we are here. We have here a panel coming from mainly from air industry. There is also, I think, in the internet, Luca Mariorenzi representing also UIC for the rail industry. We are working in UIC concerning air and rail cooperation. We have a memorandum of understanding with SITA concerning that, and we are working on two topics. The main one is ticketing, integration of ticketing between air and rail. So we have worked during 3 years concerning that, and we have done some specifications. We have the intention to have a prototype in 3 years between air and rail, whatever the rail company, whatever the air company, concerning this topic. I know that there are a lot of initiatives in all the countries concerning that, in Germany, in France, in Sweden, in Belgium, and in Netherlands, and in other countries. There are a lot of initiatives, so you will speak about that also, guys. We are also in UIC in a European project which name is MODUS, concerning also the relationship between airports and railway stations. For that, so we are also hard working in UIC concerning the cooperation between air and rail. So we know that the world will change also a little bit, due to the fact that after the COVID-19 pandemic and after also the awareness of environmental issues, people will stay maybe longer. Can stay longer in trains. That is why the range of rail, I speak about rail traffic can be longer for the people. Until now, it was to have 50% of market share between air and rail. It was around 3 hours of trip. Maybe it will increase, and it will also increase with the development of night trains, also concerning that. So there is a way, and there is a new equilibrium to find between the two transport modes, and it's great to have that in mind to begin this session. So. I think in my paper, the organizers gave me the first speaker will be Ralf from Lufthansa, Director of Intermodal and Mobility Innovations. Ralf, are you here?
No, I'm connected online.
Yes.
Yes, I'm part of the meeting. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting to start right now, but just a few words from my side. Thank you for introducing me, and first of all, apologies for not being there. I would love to be with you in Berlin, but right now, after the pandemic, face-to-face meetings seem to be everywhere at the same time, and we have an internal conference right now with our staff, and it's very important to meet face-to-face again, as you can imagine. For that reason, I cannot be with you in Berlin. Feel really bad about that. Anyhow, the Lufthansa group I am representing has been pretty much involved with intermodal traffic right now. I guess we are one of the world leaders, maybe together with our friends KLM on the world stage with using train feed. I'm starting my video. Couldn't do that before because I wasn't allowed for some reason. Train feed to our flights. Right now we are serving, I guess, 32 or 33 destinations by railway. For example, with Lufthansa from Frankfurt, you can reach every domestic destination that is served by plane, also by an rail connection. We call that Lufthansa Express Rail. That is featuring a Lufthansa flight number. So I guess we are pretty much into that already. But as we're gonna get this, gonna see in the discussion pretty soon, we're still facing quite a few obstacles. That, for example, with our 4 airlines, we had to introduce individual solution for each and every rail partnership, which of course is quite an effort. Maybe that's for the start. Looking forward to the discussion.
Okay, thank you, Ralf, for this introduction. So, Ralf, if I may ask you a question, so how do you see the interoperability from Air+Rail across the members of Lufthansa Group?
As I said, we're pretty much into that already. One of the most important things is, of course, is obviously to have a good connection on your airport to rail services. We do have that. At least in 4 of our hub airports, like in Brussels, in Zurich, in Vienna, and in Frankfurt. We don't have that in Munich, much to our regret, because we cannot offer real competitive rail flight connections there. You cannot you cannot make the passenger travel the S-Bahn for the regional train 45 minutes to the main station in Munich, and then ongoing to a train connection to the next city. So for that reason, a good connection at the airport is very important. Another thing which comes into my mind, which is still an obstacle, is obviously the technicality. We already spoke about the efforts we are currently undertaking with USC and IATA to define a common standard, which is a pretty tough thing to do. To be honest, we're gonna have a face-to-face meeting next week. Hopefully we get a lot further on that. And last but not least, one of the things, the challenges, is still to convince the passenger, especially the airline passenger, that traveling by train is something which is convenient, which is a good way to reach the airport, especially if the connections are quite short. Still, even on the very short routes, for example, from Düsseldorf and Stuttgart to Frankfurt, where the train travel time is 1 hour, so your individual connection will not be longer than flight by flight. We still see about 50 to more than 50% taking the flights, though we have much less flights than we offer train connections. So obviously we have to work on that as well, that the perception of the passenger, the acceptance of the passenger is a given for those multimodal services.
Okay, thank you for this speech, Ralf. The second in my list is Luca. Luca is also online. Is Luca Mariorenzi from FS Technology. He is also responsible of the passenger experts subgroup. Yes, hello Luca. Passenger experts subgroup in UIC, and responsible of the projects for an intermodality or multimodality, as you wish. There are two types. It's air and rail multimodality, and also door to door. So we have also some contacts and a memorandum of understanding with UITP concerning that, in order to have integrated ticketing also between rail and public transport in urban areas. So Luca, you have 10 minutes if you would like, 10, 15 minutes as all the speakers here who are around the table.
Okay, thank you very much, Marc, Mr. Guigon, to give me the floor. First of all, apologies also on my side to not attending in person. I'm sure that I will have the chance to meet you in person during the next year, I'm sure. On my side, as just said, I'm here talking about the Air+Rail initiative that UIC started since 2019. I believe that's a good chance to talk about that because we have been asked since that time very much by the members of the UIC, meaning in this case railway undertakings, to start about Air+Rail discussion. This in order to facilitate the development of intermodality. Not only we said Air+Rail, on the other side we also have a door-to-door table in parallel. So intermodality is more and more on the table, on the agenda also of the rail sector. And the 2019 initiative that is continuing also today was pushed by the need to the advantages of this initiative. That means to improve Air+Rail integration, meaning create benefit for all the parties involved, from the travelers that could expect definitely a better travel experience, seamless travel experience. That's what they expect from intermodality from us and air sector. Rail operators can gain access to a global network of travel agents, and that until now have not been able to take. And air operators can extend their network as well, capturing ancillary revenue opportunities, and travel agents itself can expand the mix of products that they offer. So all this cocktail pushed the sector since that time, since 3 years ago, to start this Air+Rail project. And the main objectives that were given and that have been already reached in many of them was, first of all, to increase the awareness and knowledge about intermodality. That was the time. And as talked before by Mr. Bärwalde, also identify the technical barriers and the barriers that could not favorite the integration of the two Air+Rail modes, provide also technical guidance and specification to facilitate the integration, and also encourage definitely an innovation. A very important point mentioned is the Memorandum of Understanding that UIC signed beginning 2020 with IATA. I believe that's the ground for the collaboration of the two sectors. We, unless the pandemic, unfortunately, of course, created a bit of slowdown in the work of UIC and IATA itself, I believe, in any case, the two major sector organizations have been successful in this agreement that is not only touching the sales and distribution and ticketing part, which is the beginning of our work, but also improve the customer care, the revenue apportionment, the PRM, the management of groups, baggage. So there are many areas of improvements, definitely, between air and rail. During the Air+Rail speech that have been done either at IATA side, either on UIC side, in joint meetings. By the way, we are attending Intermodal, IATA Intermodal group, as well as railways, and this is a value that again has been reached by this Air+Rail cooperation. We have seen that until now, basically, railways and airlines have been cooperated bilaterally, because in absence of a clear and common standardization, as well mentioned before, and that has facilitated a different level of cooperation. I have in mind some, without giving names of the initiatives, but I have in mind some of them where essentially the railway undertaking are not recognized officially as rail carriers, but are recognized as air carrier, and so lose their identity, but are sold within the sector, within the air display of the GDS platforms. Other initiatives where bilaterally some portions of trains have been dedicated to passenger of the airlines, specific origin destination of high-speed areas in the rail transportation, in this case, are managed within the systems of the airlines. And then a latest point I wanted to underline, in the absence of clear standardization between the two sectors, railways and airlines prefer sometimes high level and light integrations. We call normally also white labels. That's very frequent today in my experience to see such a level of integration, meaning in the website, on in the business to consumer channels of the airline, there is a sort of banner where the airline in a parametric way connect to the website of the railway undertaking, and there the traveler can land from the booking process of the airline in the booking of train relations, with facilitated, with discounted prices, or even with the same prices available on the normal channel, and able to book the train linked to the air travel. So also these white labels, I call, are very frequent, are very much used in the light cooperation in absence of a clear standardization. But something is changing. I believe something is really changing at that time, because either on rail side and either on air side, I'm focused in this case on ticketing and sales and distribution. Specifically, I'm talking about that area. On the rail side, the APIs, the interfaces between systems of railway undertakings and between system of railway undertakings and third parties like ticket vendors or GDS or distributors or the airline itself are becoming standard, are becoming new, are being renewed. I have in mind the so-called OSDM, Open Sales and Distribution Model, that the rail sector is building. On the other hand, on the rail sector as well, we started from the classical timetabling, sharing fares, availability, ABS, and booking. We are going to offer and order. Again, also in that, we see a big change. The air sector is going to this approach, offer and order. And in the Air+Rail group, in the cooperation between Air and Rail, IATA and UIC have judged that these two initiatives, offer and order on one side, OSDM on the other side, could map their flows are matching. This is the first result we have got in the latest work. And also in terms of business requirements, they have been co-developed in the Air+Rail initiative. And so I see a very good chance for the two sectors, for the two industries in the field of sales and distribution to cooperate in that moment of transformation on both sides between IATA with offer and order and UIC for the OSDM. So I believe that's a good ground of cooperation between the two sectors. That's a chance that we don't have to lose. That's a very good opportunity, and I believe that's the point for which I leave the floor to the moderator now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Luca. So you give a name. I'm not sure that everybody understood around the table, which is OSDM, Open Sales and Distribution Model, which is the new standard of concerning the rail industry for distribution and ticketing, which will replace all the former standards concerning that, and it is built, it is done in order to be to allow through ticketing. That means ticketing with a lot of operators. If you want to have a ticket from as says the commissioner some years ago from Lisbon to Ljubljana, and also intermodality. So thank you very much, Luca, for your speech. And what are your expectations in terms of planning and delay and implementation?
Yeah, I believe the rail sector already is a good level of implementation in the OSDM, especially the specification of the standard has been designed. Now the point is to distribute and to finish with the work with the IATA to match exactly the two standards. As of now, we have completed the work of the business requirements, I said, but also the flows matching. We miss the exact data mapping, which is ongoing. I believe by this year, 2022, the group will be able to reach a first result in that sense. By the way, next week, we have an intermodal group meeting in Geneva with the IATA, and will be with my colleagues a very good chance to continue this work.
Yeah, yes, so everybody around the table knows, of course, that the two words are very, very different. The air industry and rail industry words are very, very different. So it's very, very important to do that, and congratulations, because I know that it is a hard work to work on this topic of multimodality and distribution and ticketing. I will go to the next speaker now with because you are in Roma, I think, Luca.
Yeah.
So I think there will be somebody here also coming from Roma. It's Ivan Bassato, who is the Chief Aviation Officer at the Airport of Roma. We'll have a presentation.
Thank you, Marc. Yeah, I think it's working. Yeah, it's going on. I live in Roma, but I visit quite often Berlin. I'm always happy to be here, and so thank you for the invitation to join this panel. Very important summit. Well, in Roma, I oversee the aviation activities of the two airports of Rome, Rome Fiumicino, the bigger one, and Rome Ciampino. And I'm responsible commercially and operationally for the aviation activities. It's a premiere for me to speak in front of an audience of railway managers, so be patient with somebody that do not master your technology, does not master your technology. But there's a lot of work going on intermodality in Rome. I'm glad I can share with this short presentation what we are doing in cooperation with the Group FS and the major airlines operating intercontinental international trunk routes out and to Rome. Okay, everything descends from a vision of Aeroporti di Roma, ADR, the company I work for, centered on sustainability, innovation, and quality. Okay, quality is the old paradigm. We've been working a lot about customer satisfaction in Rome, and think we reached a quite good level. Some of you may be aware of that. But sustainability is a must-do for aviation. The road to full sustainability of air transport is a long one, and we want to lead to this extent. We committed to become, as an airport, net zero carbon by 2030, and there is a very robust, long list of initiatives that we are carrying out to prove that we are fully sustainable. Clearly here the objective is not to communicate a greenwashing activity. The objective here for air transport, that this is challenging due to technology. The objective here is, yes, I had to shift to the, yeah, it's working, good, thank you. Here the objective is to prove that sustainability is there, and it can become an airport with no emission. Intermodality is a major chapter, as I said. We are developing in these right months, with the cooperation of the several stakeholders, a new offer for customer by designing what we call a best-in-class intermodal product centered on the Rome Fiumicino main airport. And in doing so, we can also achieve the objective to enlarge the catchment area of the airport to locations more northern and southern than Rome. We need, and this is a prerequisite, a strong coordination of the timetables of trains and flights. And this is complex by itself, because the dynamics of a rail timetable is very different from the dynamic of the intercontinental timetable. Okay, the different means of transportation with the different needs. And we are studying, and we will provide dedicated services at the airport and transportation hubs touched by the passengers, dedicated exclusive for intermodal passengers. So very concrete things that we need to do. Our vision is based on 2 steps. The first step of work goes through the enabling of the service. So things that we must have. If we want to have intermodality between air and rail, we need to have these things. Commercial agreement between air and rail carriers, so with the full visibility of sellability on GDSs. We need to provide passengers with the possibility, with the option to have a single transaction. Make it simple, single transaction. We need to have protection in case of misconnection, because different timetables and different operational conditions in the background often mean that there might be misconnections at the airports. And we need to provide online check-in for both train and plane. The train offer, the high-speed train offer, needs to be well coordinated with the flight's ways. I will speak about this later on. And the high-speed train service must be actually offered directly at the airport station, as it is and will be more and more the case in Rome Fiumicino. And then we have step 2, enhancing the service, things that are nice to have but can win the hearts of the passengers. Airport services, additional airport services, so baggage check-in and drop-off at the airport train station, which are offered in very few cases, if we look at what's going on in Europe and in the world. And carrying assistance and customer experience as the main focus. So integration of loyalty and frequent flyer programs, assistance at the airport train stations for arriving and departing passengers, and travel class alignments. Let's have a look at the high-speed train network of Italy. Some of you may know that, some others may not. You see the red lines. These are the high-speed train services in Italy. The service is not really very high-speed everywhere, But you can see that if you know a little bit of the geography of Italy, from Milan in the north to Naples and Salerno in the south, indeed we do have an excellent high-speed, high-frequency train service. What are we interested mainly in Rome Airport when we speak about intermodality? The yellow point, the yellow dot is Rome Fiumicino Airport. The red dot, the green dot very close to yellow dot is the city of Rome. And then in the north we have the very important cities and catchment areas and markets of Florence and Bologna. It takes less than 2 hours, 1 hour and 40 minutes between Florence and Rome by high-speed train. And then we have Naples, maybe 70 minutes away in the south. One important thing is that Fiumicino Airport railway station is not located along the high-speed train. Okay, and this is an obstacle that we will never be able to overcome. So we need to do other things and provide additional services to passengers and do things to the timetables and to the physical working of the high-speed train network to overcome this hurdle. Okay, so you see on the top right corner that the FCO, the airport, is located after Rome Termini and Rome Tiburtina, the two main stations in Rome for the high-speed train network. And then we have the long-haul flights with at the airport. I mean, long-haul flights follow completely different logic. We haven't recovered fully the intercontinental network to certain geographies of the world, let's say Asia after COVID. So we are missing intercontinental flights in the afternoon, in the evening hours, but morning and midday we have a full recovery of all flights to North America. Okay, the market in North America to Europe in general, especially to Italy, this summer I think every single or maybe every second American wants to visit Italy, so the market is quite strong. And indeed we have more activities now rather than in 2019. So you see that we cannot reach with the high-speed train service the airport any time through the day. Otherwise it's not going to work. Intermodality simply doesn't take place. We need to have the inbound high-speed train at certain times, maybe a couple of hours at the sweet spot in the morning, in the very morning, to plug into the outbound intercontinental flights to North America. And then we need to have the outbound high-speed train and not too late in the day to defeed the intercontinental flights coming in the early morning. So this is the very basic of the synchronization of the timetables between train and air services. I will not go through all these informations, but we are working with FS, and we are quite satisfied about it. We will see things this summer happening, this summer. So we are quite satisfied about the progress that we have done with FS and the airlines. So things that we need to take care of, consistent high-speed train offer coordinated to the main flight waves. We need to have agreements in place. Sometimes it's better to have agreements not two ways directly, but coordinated via external parties that are platforms that do exist right now. We'll have more in the future for sure. But you know, when you have a universe of, we have more than 100 airlines operating at the airport, and we do not have a single high-speed train provider in Italy. So when you have a relation many to many, if you have an intermediate core of services that are offered to intermediate the two offers is better. I can mention the agreement between Trenitalia and Air+Rail that are already in place, but there are other possibilities. Dedicated services at the airport, dedicated passenger info, and we will need anyway infrastructure developments. We want to start with what it is existing because it takes time to develop the high-speed train infrastructure, but we will need developments because we have a limited capacity at the railway station at the airport, and we will need to extend that capacity. The agreement and the work on intermodality is part of a more of a broader cooperations plan between the airport ADR and Group FS, and this agreement, this master agreement that we signed early in the year, is a lot about cooperating in the distribution system, in the provision of additional high-quality, high-value services at the railway stations, at the airports, and also the railway stations at the origin of the passenger trip, and about the development of the capacity of the railway part of the system. The interesting part, the interesting thing, in my opinion, about the work we are doing in Rome is that we are trying to create a model that works not only in the one airline to one railway operator only, but it works, it enables synergies and true intermodalities between many airlines, long haul, short haul, and the train services provider. There are different levels of integration. I think this is already well known to the audience. The most simple level of integration is interlining between the airline, the HST operator, through maybe distribution companies. Then we have code share, and the commercial partnership between rail and air can become stronger and stronger as you move on the right side of the slide. And passengers will see the benefits of this cooperation agreement clearly. And then we have the future that will come. It is not a very distant future, and we are working on this already with the Group FS. It's no secret. We announced that we will have new developments. So the world keeps changing, and technology keeps also changing and keeps improving. This will not provide the high volume services between airports and main railway stations, but indeed we are working on the possibility to connect Rome Fiumicino to Rome Termini. We announced it by the end of 2024, but this will happen. We will see these developments in the decade because the technology of flying fully sustainable, full electric on short haul, on short range is arriving. We announced that with the partnership of a German company, Volocopter, and we are working with, you see these feasibility studies on the left side, the airport, on the right side, Roma Termini station. We will have urban air mobility, and happy that we can complement the high-speed train, the intermodality project with this kind of vision and services that is coming. So, in a nutshell, this is what we are doing here in Rome.
Yes, it's very, very comprehensive, and it's very impressive to see what you are doing. Maybe there are some comments in the room. I have only one comment concerning the non-discrimination of your program with the different railway undertakings which operate in Italy.
For sure, as I said, we are the airport, so we are interested in developing a model that is open to several airlines and several rail operators. Okay, and that's I think they didn't say much about the distribution system or the intermediation or the platforms that are actually existing. I'm sure will be developed even more that can connect these two different worlds. So we need tools, and I think this is the focus of this panel, that can put in cooperation and in commercial partnership many airlines with many rail operators. Okay, and to cater for these needs, of course, we need capacity for airlines, but this is not a problem because, as I said, we have competition. We have more than 100 airlines at the airport and many operating long haul. Differently from other benchmarks that we have in the system, where the cooperation is very strong between one airline, the air carrier, and the main train operator of that country. In Rome, we want to develop a relation many to many. Okay, and I think we are, I would say, a good progress. We achieved some important intermediate results, and we will see more in the next months and the years.
Okay, thank you, Ivan, for this answer. Do you have some questions around the table for the speakers? And what will be the role of Leonardo Express at the end?
I have to say this because we speak to major airlines, European and non-European. I think we need to be flexible to the different needs and commercial strategies of these airlines. There are airlines that say to us, I want it as seamless as possible. Okay, so I have customers that get in trouble to understand the complexity of a railway network in a foreign country, because they understand that if you're coming from Nashville, Tennessee, it's difficult to read through the timetable of the Rome regional train service. Okay, and the same is valid vice versa, right? If we go to Nashville, Tennessee. So these airlines are more interested in developing a direct link between the high-speed train service and their air services. And then there are other airlines which probably serve the needs of different customers that said, I want the full access, I would like to have the full access to all train services offered at the airport, even the Leonardo Express. Leonardo Express is a big commercial success, but Leonardo Express actually needs another stop and needs more time when passengers arrive in Rome. If that passenger is coming from Naples city center or from Florence city center, the proposition to tell them you have breakfast in the morning in Naples and dinner in the night in Manhattan is quite a strong one. And this is possible mainly if you can connect high-speed train services, plug high-speed train services directly into the airport railway station.
Thank you very much. And you are totally right that the connection at the airport is very, very important, and there will be also panelists speaking about that just after. Yes?
Yes, a question. What is current?
Yeah, Leonardo Express takes 32 minutes from the airport to Rome Termini, and the Volocopter will take 12 to 15 minutes. So I would say it's double as fast. But it carries one passenger against 500 for a moment.
I understand your last comment.
So clearly complementary service, no. One doesn't substitute the other.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. So in my list I have Michel Mommens coming from BeNe. You are here, Michel. Bienvenue. We cannot hear you. Please switch on your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's okay now.
Bienvenue, Marc. Bonjour. Yes, some people I know already, of course. I will present myself shortly. Michel Mommens. I work for BeNe, IT provider for different international railway companies, such as Belgian Railways, Dutch Railways, Luxembourg Railways, Danish Railways. So the whole IT park and the system provider is BeNe behind. A few years ago, we developed also an Air+Rail program, quite a few years ago, where we integrated totally the high-speed train selling into GDS, and we followed completely the air model. It was quite a challenge because it was out of our comfort zone. This is a total other model of selling, of booking, of settlement. So we had to integrate totally the rail system, which is a totally other system of booking and settlement. And I will share you a slide presentation. Just share my screen, of course. So we work with different high-speed companies and also with the major air players, and then other smaller companies globally around the world, and with the GDS provider or broker accessible. So what is BeNe Air+Rail? The products, the models, the advantages, some techniques. We will go quite quick through this, finance, and then we can provide you even with the production demo. So in the country of the existing different rail programs throughout Europe, which is mostly domestic rail and fly, so it mostly is a ticket from city X to the airport. We offer another model. We offer international train products as a flight in GDS, totally integrated with different air business models, codeshare, interline, or standalone. The booking is fully integrated in GDS with seat reservation in the inventory of the train carriers. And upon check-in, the travel rights for the train, aka the boarding pass, but in the rail world it would be a train ticket because you need to show this on the train, is delivered. And the settlement is totally based on the air model. So we have some examples. As Belgium is a very small country, we have the advantage to have high-speed lines to any major airport in Europe. So, for instance, Brussels Airlines can extend his catchment area by selling tickets from Amsterdam to Mumbai and transferring to Brussels Airport. The first part would be by train. The second part, of course, the long-haul flight would be done by Brussels Airlines. The advantage is for the customer, it's one shop stop. So it's only one payment at the travel agent or an airline website. The customer receives his e-tickets. The customer can check in online for rail and air, and he receives his train ticket upon check-in. And the customer can take the train international through Brussels Airport. We have two models, hop-on, hop-off train, 16 connections a day between Schiphol and Brussels Airport, or by high speed, Thalys. And then you have 14 direct connections to Brussels. This is mainly a bilateral agreement with KLM and Thalys company. We also have the same model for Frankfurt Airport. And the advantages are increase in markets in the GDS worldwide for the rail, of course. We are visible on the primary GDS screen, and it's a one-on-one booking, so there is no blocked space group in trains needed for this. And we mainly serve as a feeder, de-feeder for the major airlines. The advantages for the air world, of course, as Luca already mentioned, they can extend their catchment area to neighboring countries without airport taxes or extra slots to pay, and no infrastructure is needed. The main aim for us is a range between 300 and 800 kilometers, and globally, the figures are until 2019 for obvious reasons. We had 800,000 packs already, so mainly 100,000 a year are using this model. We also have a connection to CDG, France, AMS, and FRA. On technical level, we go quite quick through this. So we had to find the correct booking fare base code for contracting. At booking time, the price is 0 in the inventory of the rails, because the settlement is done upon check-in time and not upon booking time. We had to map also the booking fares. Airlines have quite a lot of booking fares, so we had to map them to mainly 2 booking classes in a train, first and second class, and several flex levels. Then we also created a platform which is a BeNe DCS, departure control system. And this allows us to totally follow the air model. We check in the ticket will have the status flown upon arrival at the airport, and then the second ticket can be checked in and will have the status flown. We call this a coupon sequence, and this allows you to have a control on the settlement, because the railway company will only receive money for each flown ticket and not each sold or booked ticket. Upon check-in, quite easy, we check some checks if the booking is correct, if the customer is correct, if the company is allowed. Then we acquire airport control, we check the ticket, we create the ticket, and we send it back to SITA if it is a mobile check-in. If it is a desk check-in, and this depends on the agreement with the air company, then a paper ticket would be delivered to the customer. So we have a web check-in and a desk check-in, and both possibilities are we deliver a mobile ticket directly to the phone of the customer, or at the desk he will receive a printout of the ticket, which allows him to travel on Thalys IC train or Intercity train or TGV train. So the challenges are, and still today, is there's no alignment between the booking horizon of railway operators and flight operators. In most of the time, railway operators will have a booking horizon of 6 months. Air companies have a booking horizon of 1 year almost. So this is the main challenge to synchronize these booking horizons. Error handling in booking data. We had some experiences with booking errors on inventory level rail. They have other rules than an inventory level of air. So also this had to be challenged. The booking, how does it work? SITA is connected to the GDSs, the known GDSs worldwide, and serves as a broker. BeNe API, which is compliant with the OSDM API, is connected to almost any inventory, rail inventory in Europe. And we can deliver tickets for almost any destination in Europe. So when SITA receives an air booking with a train connection, he makes a connection to BeNe. We make the booking in the appropriated inventory. It could be NRT or IRT. IRT integrated reservation trains such as TGV, Thalys, Eurostar, and NRT is the non-reservation trains, non-integrated reservation trains. These are mainly hop-on, hop-off trains. Or ICE train is also possible, but most of the time we deliver also a separate seat booking reservation, seat reservation with high-speed train in Germany. This is the booking flow. Each week we have an updated schedule, SSEM file. Also, this was not compliant. There is a difference between the layout and the format on the OEG level and the railway inventories. So also this is automated now, and we send a weekly schedule update of the train files to OEG, and if needed, there is a schedule update on air level as well. Settlement, this is based on a IATA clearinghouse with a BSP. So mainly for the air people, this is a known model. And at the end, SITA will settle with the GDS cost, will settle with the railway carrier, with the railway distributors, SNCB and NS, and they will settle with the carrier behind in their settlement flow. As said, the importance of a departure control system is that you can have a control on your settlement if the coupon is lift boarded. So also this has been installed on BeNe side, so we have a control on the coupon until the flown state, and this allows us to have a control on the settlement, which can be months later. The importance of the coupon second, status flown means you receive your money. Status airport control at the beginning, this means a no-show, a cross-border fraud, which is always possible, or the ticket has been cancelled or exchanged. So in the summary, the booking horizons of rail and air are mostly aligned. For the hop-on, hop-off train, it is aligned. For the high-speed trains, it is not yet aligned. There are no seat allotments. The airline only pays for the passenger who has traveled. Seat reservations are integrated on any high-speed train. It's a one-stop shop for customer and travel agents. Opportunities for the airlines, of course, is to extend the catchment area, then have no transfer taxes. Opportunities for the rail companies is to have worldwide and access to travel agents and online travel agents. settlement mainly through IATA clearinghouse. There is a departure control system, so you have a control on your settlement, and we have a multi-carrier solution for any high-speed train. And next step would be any Belgian station or any Dutch station, but this is quite easy to install. I do realize this is based on the actual models. The next step would be to connect online with OSDM and then connect with NDC or IATA. This should then be totally fluent for the customer. We have one demo. How does it work? You can see already the ticket checked in, border checked in. And we have one here. This will be just in time. If you take this one, you can see we have a GDS locator, which is the AirPNR, and this is marriage with the railway locator. You can say board. Then now all the operations we had in the quick presentation are taking place.
Okay, thank you, Michel, for the demo. Thank you for this very precise information. So you see in the room that we are at different levels depending on the speaker and also on the projects. Here you have implemented your system and it works. And as you said, you use also, of course, the UIC standards. And you will use the new standards with open sales and distribution model. So everybody has now to have this single in mind, or SDM, which is open sales and distribution model concerning all the things. You spoke about timetables and non-alignment and not the same horizons of timetables, and I think it's really true that we have a big divergence between air and rail industry concerning this topic. So in UIC, we are working hard on that. In fact, maybe you do not know around the table, but UIC has the integrated timetables of all trains in large Europe, including Turkey, including Ukraine, including Russia normally. And yes, normally, and we have that, and we update this database 3 times a week, and what is important, that what we tell to our members is to have a timetable horizon of more than 6 years, and we hope that to have 6 months, yes, and we hope to have that for 1 year, I hope. For this cooperation. So thank you, Michel. I will come to Mikołaj, who is chairman of the board of Solidarity Transport Hub. He's also here. I've seen that headline sponsor of this event. So thank you so much for that. Due to you, this event can also be here in Berlin, and you have the floor.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you. For the beginning, one clarification. I'm not the railway guy. I'm not the airport guy neither. My role in the STH company is to bring together these two words, because aviation and railway sector are completely different words. There are no different branches, there are different words. But what is actually Solidarity Transport Hub program? I know that every one of you have heard about the Rail Baltica, but probably not every one of you have heard about the Solidarity Transport Hub. We are the younger brother of Rail Baltica, but relatively bigger in the capital expenditures provided for this program. We are the foundation based on 4 pillars. The first is the heart of the system, multimodal hub, which at the same time will be world-class hub airport, main airport for Poland, and at the same time, main transfer railway station designed for high-speed railway lines and regional railway at the same time. So this is the heart of the system. The second pillar is the railway expansion, which means 2,000 kilometers of new rail lines with the majority of them in the high-speed railway standard. And only to mention, there are also 2 other pillars. The first is the road expansion in order to provide the best possible connection and best possible access for the traditional passengers, and Airport City, which mission is to take the advantage of the best connected location in the Central Eastern Europe, which the Solidarity Transport Hub surroundings will be. And now let me present to you what will be the final result of the Solidarity Transport Hub program delivery. Just I have said before, you see that the Solidarity Transport Hub, the heart of the new system, will be at the same time the main airport for Poland and the main transfer railway station for Poland. Building of new railway lines provides also possible expansion both to the Nordic states, to the Ukraine, to Czechia, and of course to Berlin. Of course, providing that the Berlin will be interested in extending in their high-speed railway networks eastwards, because for now, correct me if I'm wrong, there is no such plans. And of course, all efforts are focused on providing the maximum possible multimodality. We truly believe that the railway may gain its market share in the transportation sector, not through strict law regulations, but through the comprehensive offer given thanks to the infrastructure and thanks to the fully integration of short, medium, and long-haul journeys. So multimodality is the key for this success. And of course, on these slides, you see some core values, which answers the question how we want to provide it through connecting nodes, through introducing the intuitive infrastructure, which will be not the burden for the journey, but will help in tasting the journey. And of course, by time saving and sustainability, which is pretty obvious condition of every infrastructure construction today. I would add, for the commenting the previous speakers, I would say because of that, we don't need the synchronization of the timetables of the airport and of railways, because having main railway point and the main airport of the country on the same place means that every hour you will have the train connection on every of these spokes coming from the heart of the system. And what are the obstacles? As you see, we have run an analytical research program concerning the multimodal passenger experience. In the terms of stress, there is one challenge. The stress is biggest at the beginning of the journey, then comes lower and lower, and then you see the hill. This is the is the changing of modes of transport. And of course, if we want to deliver the seamless journey and comprehensive multimodal offer, we need to eliminate this hill. And one of our initiative, we have started the preliminary market consultation in order to provide new high-speed railway rolling stock in order to get as close the passenger experience as is possible to the highest possible standard of the journey. And the key, why we have done it? We have done it because we think we should address the journey as a whole. So if I may skip to the previous slides, as you see, we need to cover also first mile, accessing to the railway station, of course, maximum comfort through the train transport, then maximum comfort to the of the transfer, maximum comfort of the airport departure, and of course it's partly outside our scope of competence, but also secure the possible level of service by the next steps, so the airport, destination airport, arrival, and the last mile. Now let me comment also some topics which help the multimodality. The first, of course, was also today mentioned, this single ticket concept. We are going to adopt that concept, of course. We are going to facilitate those concepts to the journeys starting with the starting point in Poland. But let me share with you one candid observation. In my opinion, it's not the need for isolate buying of the air and railway ticket is not the main challenge we have to hit. And I give you an example. Probably every one of you knows the Skyscanner or kayak application, which help us to travel across the world. And now try to launch it and try to find the connection, find the connection between Berlin and Coventry in United Kingdom. You will find that the best possible connection is to go through, by Lufthansa, through Munich Airport, and then go to the Birmingham Airport, and then you are 16 kilometers away from the Coventry. You only have to take the train for the last mile. And of course, the kayak nor the Skyscanner will not suggest you taking the most obvious solution. So it means to go to London and take one of the 53 direct connection from London to Coventry, only with one switch. So if I may comment, we should focus on a searching machine, on giving the passengers the proposal, offer to connecting dots. And the question of single ticketing is just a technical issue. That would be my comment to the technical, to the single concept. And remote backdrop concept, of course, it helps. Of course, it helps with the multimodality. But please observe these pictures here. Does it seem to you as a most comfortable luxury journey experience? You're staying in a pipeline. You are looking for a backdrop. We have, of course, we are going to introduce remote drops and we are going to think how to make it most efficient way. But we have to rethink it. My experience working separately with airport guys and railway guys are, as I said before, there are different worlds. Why? Because airport guys think we don't like, maybe they don't always share this opinion, but sometimes they share. We don't like the railway guys. We don't need railway on an airport because airport gives the unique luxury experience of long distance traveling. So this is the reminiscence of old times when and the railway is it's popular. It's a mass way of transportation, and it's not something sexy. And we have to connect these words, not getting low like low-cost carriers with the level of service of the airport, of the plane providers, but getting as high as possible in the multimodality. So that would be all of my presentation. And of course, I think that we are on the Railway Summit, so I know we should focus on the railway aspects of the journey. But I think we should treat these presented urban air mobility initiatives provided on the level of the European Union as a warning. Because now we, the railway guys, think that cutting the emission initiatives is a big opportunity for the railway sector. In my opinion, it is a last call for the railway sector. If we will not win this fight for the railway, then urban air mobility, which is also electric, zero emission, needs no infrastructure, eliminates many switches because it's vertiport, 9-meter circle, 9-meter circle to start, 9-meter circle to land, will provide serious disturbance for the future of railway. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for these words. And you are totally right. And I said that at the beginning also, concerning the window of opportunity we have in rail, which is 10, 15 years. It is the moment to invest in rail. So keep that in mind, that in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, the cooperation or competition between modes will be different as today, and the way of thinking also will be different. There is Lucy here, who is responsible for sustainable development in UIC, and she knows that also very well concerning this topic. Thank you for this speech. I have one comment when I see your map. So when I see your map, you told us that you will have 2,000 kilometers of new high-speed line in.
Most of them are high-speed railways. Over the half of them, but not every kilometer is high-speed railway.
Okay, so new lines in Poland. When I hear the Green Deal in the European Commission, they said that they have the wish to double the traffic by 2030, and there are not a lot of solutions for that. There are 2, 3, 4 solutions for that, and one of these solutions are to build new lines in Central and Eastern Europe. That means mainly in Poland. Yeah. So I think your project is good, very good, to support the wish of the Commission for that, and also from Poland to other countries. So you spoke about Ukraine, because in the future there will be, I think, a line to Kiev or to Odessa, and also to countries in the south also of Poland, and of course in the north because Rail Baltica is here and is also sponsoring this event. So thank you for that. I have only one question. There will be a shift from air to rail sometimes. What is the impact of the domestic flights in your country?
Well, we are going to eliminate all domestic flights, but not through the restrict regulation, but through the comprehensive offer. Because once you have the whole Poland in the 2 hours time of the railway journey, you don't need to take a plane, because the waiting for the control, for the security control on the airport eliminates our advantages against the railway. So of course we don't want. We sure we will achieve it. We will eliminate all domestic flights across Poland.
So it will be great for your airport to have medium size or long haul flights. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will give the floor to our last speaker, Benoit. Benoit Ferrer, at SITA, who is also a sponsor of this event, not at the same level, Director of Business Development and Travel and Transportation.
Thank you, Marc, and thank you for having us in this session. I think it's one of the first time I see a panel which is so diverse. I'm not a railway guy either. I'm just an IT architect, but my goal for today is to bring a different perspective, and really the comments for me when I listen to my co-panels is that it's so important to have the perspective of the airport. So when you talk about air and rail, many people think that the airlines are going to strike their deal and do their partnerships with the rail companies on their own, but in reality, in the middle of this journey, there is an airport in the middle. And it's important to take that perspective. So let me start with a little video, if that makes sense. Is there any sound? Try again.
Okay, you can comment it if you would like,
Yeah.
Benoit.
So that was just for the nice music. Okay.
So you have the products, we see.
It was just not the products, probably also the data points, which is important, so the ingredients to actually build a solution. I'm glad you cover a lot of the different topics I wanted to cover, because there are so many stakeholders that are needed to simply help operate an air segment between A and B. And as soon as you bring intermodality in a perspective, then you are actually multiplying by 10 the number of stakeholders. We mentioned the number of airlines that you at Rome, for example, operate with, and you add intermodal, and you suddenly also increase the number of options for integrated mobility. And one of the comments in this is how many different sub-services need to be serviced if you want to operate from A to B. So we tend to say, and we've talked a lot about ticketing, we talked a lot about selling the value of mobility end-to-end, but you also need to fulfill this one ticket. You need to service the offer, and you need to actually take care of a lot of different items and many services, from disruption management, information sharing, passengers will reduce mobility, sustainability, all these different sub-services are equally important. It's good to be able to sell the ticket, but you need to fulfill the offers as well. So as SITA, we operate primarily in aviation. We transform travel through technology, and we do this with the airlines at the airports. And we've looked into the current crisis actually as an opportunity. It's been tough days, tough times in the last 2 years, and definitely one of the things we've seen as a growing momentum is integrated mobility. The need for mobility, the need for redefining door-to-door, the need for a connected journey. And taking this as an opportunity, we can probably do things differently. We can organize panels like this today, where we have multiple perspectives. We can benefit from the window that you're proposing, Marc, 10 years, where we can probably act differently. And we can build solutions which are going to be for the current pain points, but also for the future. We traditionally operate in the aviation sector, and most of the things we do is built on community collaborations, bridging the data, sharing, reusability, sustainability. Most of the activities where we simplify travel, where we provide seamless experience, where we help the different stakeholders collaborate and bring operations efficiencies is at airports. And as we see when we go Air+Rail, the airport's going to be an important piece of the puzzle. It's going to be the hub, or it's going to be the node. Yesterday, François mentioned node. It's going to be the node of this Air+Rail collaboration. And it's important to bring the perspective, but also understand what's going to change. If we start with aviation as a starting point, and if you acknowledge that the airport's going to be a part of that puzzle, then you need to change your vocabulary. A passenger is going to be a connected journey. You can't talk about them as a passenger. Just because in cruises, they don't call this a passenger. They call this a guest, for example. So you need to talk about the intermodal traveler or the connected journey. If you're looking at operational efficiencies, maybe you want to look at it in a slightly different way. You want to look at sustainability as the way you operate. And as well as the community. We used to call this the aviation community. And now this is really an ecosystem of players. We're going to bring not 10 different players to fly from A to B, but an ecosystem of hundreds of players that are piece of the puzzle as well. And common to all of this, as we bring a happy, safe, healthy, a sustainable experience, intermodal experience, common to this is data and collaboration around data. Because you need the data to actually make things simple. So to facilitate travel, you need to understand the common requirements. Listen to the cruisers, listen to the railway companies, listen to the ferry, listen to the new marketing, the vocabulary that is picking up. Rail, Air+Rail, fly to cruise. I've heard ferry, fly ferry, and all these intermodal segments are starting to pop up. You need to allocate it from a seamless and safe perspective. So what is it that you want to take from, for example, what's happening at airports, but not necessarily applying everything from aviation to rail? There are some good things in there, but also things you do not want to replicate. So, for example, unlearning some things, not necessarily applying strict like for like. A lot of this is about integration. You mentioned integration in a ticketing example. We talked a lot about APIs. We heard about new formats, new standards, and how to connect all these worlds together. And so that you also take it as an opportunity so that really the journey feels like it's connected end to end. I love the graph that you're showing where the stress level is going down, and at the middle, at the hub, suddenly the stress goes up again until you fly. There's a way to probably service smarter intermodal offers. You talked about products, which was part of the video. I think what you can do by bringing the examples of rail, bringing the examples of aviation, is take the good things, take the ingredients, take the products, take the data points, and maybe build solutions around this by assembling this into a solution that makes sense. And again, data is so important because it's about taking the smallest particles and being able to bring it together. So the way we see this as an opportunity is to take various sides of experience working with airlines, airports, border management, governments, connecting the aircrafts, working on cargo, and trying to see what are the good pieces of services or data points that you can bring together and innovate. One of the things that is also important, we heard about innovation yesterday, for example, is to drive the adoptions. It's good to invent things left and right, but also to try to influence the way we could do things differently, to practically trial things, to do proof of concepts, to test things, and to also maybe influence by bringing the users, the travelers, to flavor, to test this, and to maybe say, okay, this is really good, and we can really connect the journey end to end. So the idea is we would position a lot of the capabilities that are growing out there on ticketing, on one order, on really selling the integrated mobility. Someone needs to actually take care of how all of these offers get fulfilled. So you need to service those offers. And someone needs to, for example, look into data exchange to manage and anticipate disruptions. What is it that happens when you are misconnections? How can you predict those misconnections? So there's a number of use cases around baggage, for example, that you mentioned, where potentially things can be done slightly differently. One of the challenges is on information of the passenger. So how do you know that you're actually going to make it? How do you know you used to come to the airport by car? How can you trust that the local transport is going to take you on time? And if at the ticketing level, those connecting journeys are being insured by your insurance fee, how do you lower that insurance fee? There's a notion of minimum connecting time in the aviation business. As soon as you make it an intermodal journey, this becomes a perceived connecting time. And the stress level, as you showed in your graph, is actually going in different routes. People are stressed by the idea that potentially they are not going to make it. So, Marc, you mentioned the merits database, which picks up together all the details of the rail, for example. Our idea is that you can potentially connect flight information database with the equivalent to merits database, and you can do a plus and minus on this and start predicting your ability to connect on time. You can sell as many tickets as you want, but if at the end of the day people are continuously miss up their connections, it's not going to make you a happy passenger. Another thing that BeNe and Michel mentioned, for example, and one of the things we're doing with a few rail operators already, is to improve the experience of check-in or actually going through the end-to-end journey. And common to this is railway operators and the airlines would like to know what is the next hop, or they know their passenger. We started to introduce the idea of knowing your passenger. You know, in retail, they talk about KYC. Why don't we talk about KYP? Know your passenger. And that would be a really interesting challenge, whether it's about location-based services or different types of technologies. The rail people, the aviation entities, they want to know their passenger better. And sometimes we fight for the passenger, or maybe this is an opportunity to actually collaborate more around understanding the passenger better. I think you mentioned baggage. So potentially, because you're going connected, air and rail, you're going door to door, and this challenges the baggage process, or this becomes an opportunity that you can actually use your your rail journey to print a bag tag, to anticipate the way you are going to drop your bag at the airport, to challenge the way self-bag drop is being done a little bit. There is a whole idea of identity. Can you actually use your face as your boarding pass, the way that airports, like in Rome Fiumicino, are using biometrics to board end-to-end? You could actually do this as well in the stations to actually board the train and use it as an interoperable system. So you need to make sure that all of this is federated, that there is interoperability between the air part and the rail part as well. Many times we hear about data exchange to understand the passenger, to understand and efficiently process the passenger end-to-end. And smarter data collaboration is so important. Maybe the opportunity, while in the aviation business, airlines and airports have not necessarily been able to crack this one, and not always sharing openly data about the passenger, maybe the fact that we introduce a new type of transports and introduce the rail in the middle of this is an opportunity to look at the different ways to collaborate around the data. So finally, we see this as an opportunity, and potentially there is a case where we can build a common approach to all of this. This is an ecosystem of opportunities where, of course, every airport, whether in Poland and in Italy, Berlin is a good example of Intermodal as well, with the recent agreements. Every airport could build their own ways of exchanging data and their own platforms. However, this would mean a cost of entry, this would mean complexity, this would mean different types of orchestration. We believe that there is probably an opportunity, even if that takes 10 or 15 years, as you say, but there is that window where people should work together, collaborate more often, and they see this as a way to design a platform, a common approach, where components, bits and pieces of products that exist already in the ticketing side, standards in OSDMs, APIs that you can reuse, are used consistently to create a common approach, to create a platform to data exchange, and the governance that goes with it. So that literally every member of the ecosystem can start sharing around the data, can start building their services on top of it, and on the benefit of the passenger, the end-to-end experience is going to be improved.
Thank you, Benoit, for this presentation. So we have seen different point of views of presentations here, from program to data, and also from the point of view of airport stations, ticketing, and other topics. So you spoke also. Do you have a link with the customer experience? Yes, with your system.
Customer experience?
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea is, for example, in the recent piece of work we did with the SNCF is to make sure that there is more information for the agents. The agents at the stations which are building the offer TGV Air, so connecting the TGV with 12 airlines that SNCF has partnered with. The idea is to make sure that you can properly serve the passenger. Passengers expect that they're going to be serviced end-to-end. They go to a station, and staff of the stations can actually help service the passenger. They know where they are flying next. They know how potentially can be settled. They know that this can be processed end-to-end. So it's also about making sure that the staff at the airport, but also now the staff at the stations, have visibility on what's going to happen, what the offer has been provided to the passenger, and how you can actually handle the passenger better. Many of the things we do traditionally at airports are related to passenger experience, making sure that this is a safe and secure journey end-to-end. And we see cases where obviously the passenger is coming to the airport by train, so it's important to anticipate how people have been coming to the airport. Maybe you can start the check-in process before you actually reach out to the airport. We are in discussions, for example, with rail companies that would like to use, if you have 18 minutes to actually go from the city center to the airport, they would like to use the time during the train to anticipate the baggage process. There is, for example, the idea that we could have bag tag printers in the train, and you can use that time there where you scan your boarding pass, and you're actually able to bring the bag tag. And as soon as you get out of the train, you simply drop your bag. It has the baggage printer on top on this, and you don't have to walk all the way to actually go to the back room.
Okay, thank you, Benoit. You spoke about MCTs also, minimum connecting times.
Yeah.
For your information, the minimum connecting times are also in the database for timetables we have in rail. We have all the information, so each company can sell tickets from one company to another. For example, with the website of the SNCF, you can sell a ticket to the, for example, from Prague to Golin. You can test it works. In Czech Republic, because they have the timetables and prices which are in the UIC databases, which are the basis and the back door of all the companies of rail companies. So thank you for the panelists who are here and online. I think we can applaud them very far. Thank you.